parents always comment, like, why do you always stretch before the show? I'm like, if you have to sit in place and read, an hour's worth of stuff,
my
you
back
want
starts hurting. I'm all like, my back.
Exactly.
I'm getting old.
Let me make sure I'm in the right place with my little clicker over here. Good to go, good to go. Okay, guys, get those questions ready. And we are about to start the show, everyone. Got the last one in. Hello, everyone. On our show tonight, we are talking to one of the youngest but most amazing tour guides we have ever met in Roatan. We have our photo of the week sent in by one of you. Apparently, the basketball player Shaq now works at Carnival. More about that a little later. We have the latest cruise news. Chris, a Flying Scotsman, has a news story from Life of a Cruise Director. Shally is back to give you more super cruise tips. And will explain the different classes of cruise ships and what may be best for you. I will have a fun side segment talking about why the ocean water in the Bahamas is often clearer than the water you drink at home. All this and much more coming up on CruiseWeekTV Live. Our show this week is brought to you by the folks at Good Memories Travel and by BMates. How is everyone doing today? And welcome to another super packed show. If you are watching live, you can participate by asking your questions live in our Facebook or YouTube chat rooms. If you're watching this as replay, well, you missed out on the best part, which is being part of our live audience. From everyone in the room tonight, can I get a thumbs up if you love CruiseWeekTV and a thumbs down if you hate it? Okay, if you don't know who I am by now, I am Matt, your host and newbie cruiser. Although I have been doing this show for over a year now, I know it's hard to believe a year, but, I'm still a newbie. And I've learned a lot about cruising, but I've only been on a couple cruises myself. Well, that's okay, because we bring on the experts to talk about all aspects of cruising to get to learn the tips and tricks together. Tonight, our guest is Justin from Justin's Island Tours in Roatan. At just 15 years old, he has a very successful tour business and is our guest tonight to explain all the fun things to do and must-sees on Roatan. If you have questions about Roatan, please start to post them in the chat rooms on YouTube or Facebook now, and our team will pick them up and give them to me so that I can put your questions to Justin directly. However, before we talk to Justin, let's see who sent in the best photo of the week. So we have circled around and asked, again, people in the Carnival Cruisers Past, Present, and Future group to send us their best cruise photo, and a lot of them did. And we picked this one of Anita Salters with a Stingray at Stingray City in Grand Cayman. We feature a new Facebook group each week, and if you're an admin of a Facebook cruise group and would like us to feature your photo of the week to our group, send us a Facebook message and we'll be happy to add you. Our show and the wonderful ability to bring in you is helped in by a big part by Good Memories Travel. When Debbie saw the hard work we were putting into the show to bring you all the cruise news, information to help others, she wanted to help and support us. Good Memories Travel is a full-service travel agency that offers you cash back and incentives that you won't get when booking with cruise lines. Why would you pay more for less? It costs nothing to compare price and sees the superior service and extras you get when you do through Good Memories Travel for your next cruise vacation. They cover all the cruise lines, and if you are a new cruiser, they can suggest the best ship and cruise to suit your cruising style. Give Debbie a call or visit their website today and see how much easier and cheaper it can be. Debbie can be reached directly at 321-338-2953 and of course through their website at goodmemoriestravel.com. And thanks for your support of CruiseWeek.tv. So the NBA Hall of Famer and TNT commentator Shaquille O'Neal, also known as Shaq, announced on Friday night's TNT broadcast that he has been given a new title joining the Carnival Cruise Line as their newly appointed CFO. The omits one minor detail. CFO stands for Chief Fun Officer, personifying the cruise line's newest brand campaign, Choose Fun, which launched earlier this week.
We at Carnival take our mission to be America's most fun vacation very seriously. So I'm making changes at the top, effective immediately. Mr. O'Neill is perfect for the job. His unparalleled passion and unique business acumen are a tremendous asset.
I need those numbers by 5 o'clock today. Duck. Duck. Goose. Just hit me on the email, Shaq at Carnival.com, and 4 tickets will be delivered to your house first thing in the morning.
Who is this?
Have you not heard?
No. Well, what?
CFO.
Oh, really?
Want to know what else? Tag, you're it. Run!
I'm excited for the immediate impact Shaq will make. Come in.
President Duffy, I turned the conference room into a ball pit. Marco Polo in 15. Choose fun, baby.
As the newly appointed CFO, O'Neill has partnered with the cruise line, lending his fun, larger-than-life personality and playful spirit to inspire America to choose fun with Carnival when planning their next vacation. Shaq's role will be brought to life via engaging video content, social media, and experimental activities beginning today. In today's world, it's important than ever to choose fun, especially when everyone is busy with work, family, and life in general, says Shaq. So I'm honored to be appointed the Chief Fun Officer at Carnival. Let's see if you will be bumping into Shaq at the next burger line on your next cruise. The port of Galveston broke a record in December, embarking 113,488 cruise passengers. That's the busiest month the port has seen since the cruise business began in September of 2000, according to a January 12th press release. The port also welcomed its 9 millionth cruise passenger in December. Galveston's 33 cruise ship calls in December also broke the port's previous record, up from 29 in December 2005. The month of December was the most successful in terms of both passenger throughput and cruise sailings in the 17-year history of cruise operations from the port of Galveston. And all indications suggest that we will continue to surpass records throughout 2018. The Port Authority told us in a statement released this week. That means that if it may take Shelley even longer to smuggle booze on board. Roatan is one of Honduras' Caribbean Bay's island, part of the huge Mesoamerica barrier reef. It's known for its beaches, dive sites, and marine life, including whale sharks. In the southwest is busy West Bay Beach with a coral reef near the shore. Cruise ships dock in the capital of Coxon Hole and in nearby Mahogany Bay. To the east are smaller settlements including Garifuna village of Punta Gorda. Our guest tonight is a tour guide on the island. At just 15, he is one of the youngest tour guides we have encountered. Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you.
So, let's just start with this. I know everyone's asking themselves this question. You're 15-year-olds. How did you get to become a tour guide at such a young age?
Well, actually, I became a tour guide since I was 9.
That's pretty young.
I been it at the port of Coxon Hole. So I began doing tours as walking tour nearby the town of Coxon Hole. Then, as I turned 14 last year, I found out about these Facebook groups and I started joining them, making advertisement, made my Facebook page and started getting clients. So now
Nice.
I have a year since I've been doing this.
That's pretty great. So you say you do walking tours. What exactly do you show people?
Well, it's all up to what they would like to do. It could such a tour around the island. It could be a beach day. They want to do the monkey slot parks, signing, set all up to what they to do, and we set it up for them, such as fishing, snorkeling, anything.
How many people do you normally have on an average tour group?
3.
About 3 people? So it's nice, pretty small. So
the group, the tour average can be from 2 people go up.
how is the fishing down there in Roatan?
Well, the fishing is pretty good. You could be in water to fishing about from 10 minutes boat ride go out, 10 to 20 minute drive.
What type of fish do people normally try to catch out there? And are they fish that you would want to eat, or are they kind of just catch and release? There might be some slight delays, folks, by the way. Usually some connections on the islands are a bit slow sometimes, so if there are some bufferings, we hope that you guys kind of understand the internet capability down there isn't what's, the best for the show. So we are going to wait for Justin to come back there, and we're going to move on to our next segment. So, our cruise show and all the wonderful abilities we have to bring in guests remotely wouldn't be possible at the level we do without vMix. vMix is a live production software that powers our live show and many other high-end productions, from church services to football games. More and more live productions run on vMix. What our producer Bird really liked when he was trying to improve our show was that they give you a full 60-day trial of everything. That way you can test it out risk-free before you buy for 2 full months. Then they have systems just starting at $315 up to $1,500, depending on your production requirements. If you're going to do any sort of serious live streaming, you need to try it today at vmix.com. Chris, the Carnival Dream cruise director, is ready to sing, dance, and entertain everyone who comes on board. And wait, I expect Chris to be in a kilt, but in this week's segment, he is in a dress.
Keep tuning in every week to get these little segments, and of course, watch it all live on CruiseWeekTV. Keep watching. Oh, good morning, folks. CD1 here on the Carnival Dream. Last night was very good. We had a rock promenade, everything like that. It was so much fun. I have to say a big shout out to the guests from last week. We had a lot of fun last cruise here on the Carnival Dream, and of course looking forward to more fun this cruise as well. I've got some really nice people on this week, which I'm excited about. Lots of friends. Well, what a night tonight. I've literally just finished the evening where I had 80s rock and glow party. I had Love and Marriage and Flying Scotsman show. For all those guests that have seen the show before, thank you for your support. We have a brand new song in the show, and I don't want to tell you what it is because it's a bit of a surprise. We debuted it tonight in the show as the second last song of the night. And I've got to be honest, in my 10 years of performing on a ship, I was so excited to perform this song in a big venue. And when I did, I was taken away. Like, it's the first time in about 10 years that I've ever performed a song where I just lost all, I don't know, it's hard to explain. So it was a really nice moment. If you do come and cruise with us again, you get to see that song. So yeah, I'm just heading back to my cabin. I had to go get my phone. I've got a busy sea day tomorrow. Got some training as well. And then of course we're back in New Orleans on Sunday, so the vlog will be ready then. So we'll see what we're going to film tomorrow, see if there's anything cool. But remember, keep subscribing, keep joining me, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching Life of a Cruise Director, and if you want to see that full vlog series every single week, you can join us here in the subscription. Don't forget to subscribe to Facebook as well, Flying Scotsman CD, and I'll see you soon. Keep watching Cruise Week TV.
So Justin had an unfortunate issue with his laptop, but he is coming back, and he should be coming back in the next minute or so. If you guys watch the Wednesday show, you should know by now that technical issues are a bit of an issue. So let's go talk with Shally before we have Justin back on. Fresh back from the wine bar in Texas, Shally, my lovely co-host, is going to cover a topic that can often confuse new and old cruisers alike: the different classes of ships that are on offer and what each class can offer to different cruisers. Also, I hear that the CCPPF has reached a new milestone. Hey,
Hi,
Shally.
Matt. How's it going? I'm glad
Pretty
to have
good.
you here with us, back from Connecticut. So yes, Matt, we have a milestone this last Friday in CCPPF. We added our 150,000th member to the group, which is astonishing to think that we started with 13 people 6 years ago. So I just want to give a quick little shout out to all my admins. I could not do this without y'all. You know who you are. Welcome to my nightmare. But and also want to say thank you to all of our amazing members, being part of such a fun, informative group. I'm so glad to have each and every one of you, except for a few of you, and you know who you are too. But anyway, we have a great time over in the group. If you haven't joined yet, please look us up on Facebook, Carnival Cruisers, past, present, and future. I was so excited. Michelle over at Carnival Cruise Line, she always tries to donate a little something for every milestone. So our 150,000th member received $100 onboard credit towards her upcoming cruise. And I was so glad to see that she actually had a cruise booked. They're leaving in February, so she gets to put her $100 onboard credit towards her cruise coming up. So I was excited about that. So yay for CCPBF.
This just in, we have Justin's connection back, and we will get back to Justin right after Shally's segment. But he is back, and his computer is working now.
Okay, so we're going to go on with me, or are we going to cut to Justin?
Oh, yeah.
We're doing,
Don't worry, Shally. We're going on with you.
Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about something that's kind of confusing to a lot of people that haven't been on a lot of cruises, and even those that have been on a lot of cruises, they don't. We talk about this a lot. The class of ships that Carnival has. My very first cruise was in 1993 on the Carnival Tropical, and 2 years later on the Carnival Celebration. Back then, they seemed like the biggest ships ever, but it's nothing compared to the ships of today. Unfortunately, both of those ships are no longer in the fleet. They've, I don't know about the Tropical, but I think the Celebration might have been sold to a smaller cruise line. You can still see the little whale tail. They just painted it a different color. But those two ships will always hold a special place in my heart. And on the Celebration, oh my God, good God, Kool and the Gang, celebrate good times, come on. Oh my God, they played that song every 10 minutes on the ship. Every time I hear it, I'm just like flashbacks
That was pretty popular in the 1970s, right, for the ships you were on?
It wasn't 1970, Matt. But on that ship, it was a very popular song because the name of the ship was The Celebration. But every time I hear that song, I have flashbacks of a drunk 23-year-old with hardly any money. My last couple of dollars was spent to tip our cabin steward because we were running out of money. But those were all some great cruises. But those are the first two cruises I went on there a long time ago in the early 90s, and I didn't cruise again until my honeymoon in 2006. So I went a long time in between, and then 2006 on, I'm all over it. I've been on cruises ever since. So,
nice.
But anyway, a lot of cruisers ask, what's the difference between all of the different Carnival ships? Carnival ships are broken down into 8 different classes. The class relates to the design of the ship, with the name of the class usually being taken from the very first ship that was built with that particular design. And the factors involved in assigning a class are the gross tonnage, which is the measure of a ship's revenue producing volume. And any ships over 100,000 gross tons are your bigger ships. And also the date the ship entered service subsequent to that date. So we'll just get right into it. The first class that is in Carnival is the fantasy class. Those ships tend to be, those fantasy class ships, the very first one would have been the Carnival Fantasy, and it was built in 1990. Older and smaller, but definitely bigger is not always better, Rob. That doesn't mean they're necessarily the best ship. They're just the smaller ships. And also, since the time that they were built up until now, all of them have been upgraded with as many of the new amenities that Carnival has and can allow on the space that they have for those ships. So
Now, for those style ships, would you say that the demographic for age is a bit older where you're not going to see a lot of kids on that? Or do you think they're more younger, family friendly? Like, what's the usual age group for these?
I don't think that really has anything to do with it because mostly, so your three biggest ports for Carnival is Miami, of course, number 2 being Galveston, number 3 being New Orleans. All of the other ports may only have one ship that leaves out of that port. But it doesn't really have, it just depends. Like, for example, Baltimore, they only have one ship that leaves out of there. So no matter how old you are or how many days you want to go,
If the
that's
port's
the only
convenient,
ship
you're
you
going to
have.
be taking it. Yeah.
Right. That's the only ship you have to choose from. But in Miami, you have multiple ships to choose from. Galveston has at least 3. We're hoping to get, room for 4 at some point. But right now we have 3 ships that go out of Galveston. New Orleans has 2 ships that go out of Galveston. Other ports also have 2 ships, but a lot of the ports only will have 1 ship, and they'll alternate between 7, 5, and 4-day cruises and back and forth. So it doesn't really, it's not necessarily the age group or that they're picking that particular ship, but if you live in Baltimore,
Exactly. It's
you have one
convenient because it's
choice.
there.
Yeah, that's going to be the ship that you're going to go on. So it depends on, do you want to do the 4-day? Do you want to do the 7-day? And that sort of thing. So the fantasy class, I'm going to tell everybody the ships that are involved in that class. The fantasy class, the very first one was built in 1990, and that's a Carnival Fantasy. All of these ships on average are pretty close, and most of these are all the same. They have a gross tonnage of 70,367 and a guest capacity of 2,056 guests. Now that doesn't include the crew, but that includes how many guests. So in the fantasy class, you have the fantasy, the ecstasy, the sensation, the fascination, the imagination, the inspiration, the elation, and the paradise. And I just have a little note next to the ships that I've been on. I've been on a lot of different Carnival ships over the years. So the Carnival Ecstasy, this was my honeymoon cruise in 2006. It had been years since I had been on a cruise. The last cruise I went on, like I said, was a celebration when I was, 24 years old with 6 of my broke friends, and we saved up for 2 years just to go on this cruise. But my husband and I went on the Ecstasy for our honeymoon. It's a smaller ship, and at the time had none of the new amenities that Carnival has now, like Guy's Burgers and Red Frog Pub or anything like that. But they still had the piano bars and all the lounges and all the comedy club. They had all of those things available. She's gotten upgrades since then. I'd love to see the difference in the ship in Ecstasy when I went on it to now. Also, just to give a shout out to Julie Littlepage, I met one of my best cruising friends. That was 12 years ago. I met her on my honeymoon cruise. I won't tell the story to everybody, Julie, but you know what happened. But anyway, I met Julie. I still know Julie. I still cruise with Julie. In fact, I'm going to California with Julie in February. We go on Diva cruises. We go on group cruises. She's one of my admins of the group. So we're still cruising and seeing each other.
Experiences, you've been on quite a lot of small ships. I think the Triumph was the smallest. I've only been on 2 ships, so I know the Triumph was the smaller of the ships. Is that in the same class as them, or is that in?
Nope. No, actually the Triumph is a class of its own, which I have that's the next class coming up is the Triumph class. The Triumph class only has 2 cruise ships, the Carnival Triumph and the Carnival Victory. So the Carnival Triumph, the Triumph class, the Triumph was 1999 when that ship was built. That's 509,000 gross tons, and they have a guest capacity of 2,754 guests. We've had 2 CCPPF Diva cruises on the Carnival Triumph. Great ship, great size. It's not huge like the Dream class, but it's still great. It's somewhere in the middle between big and small. It's not tiny, but it's not gigantic. Nice decor, and of course, she's had all the upgrades. The other in the Triumph class is the Carnival Victory, of course, with all of the same specs going on there. The next class is the Spirit class. So these are actually newer than the Triumph class, but they are smaller ships. These 4 ships normally sail from your ports like Alaska, Hawaii, Sydney, places that maybe don't have as big of a following or as many people going on the cruises, but they're actually newer than the Triumph class, but they're a little bit smaller because you don't have going to Alaska or going to Hawaii. It's more of a specialized cruise. You're not going to have probably as many people going on them as you do out of Miami. So these cruise ships, the first one built in 2001, gross tonnage 88,500, guest capacity 2,124. We've got the Carnival Spirit, the Carnival Pride, the Carnival Legend, and the Carnival Miracle. I have unfortunately not been on any one of those ships. I have not done an Alaskan cruise. I haven't done a Hawaiian cruise. I haven't done any out of Sydney. So, hopefully one day I'll get to see those.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I think Alaska must be the most beautiful, breathtaking place, I don't know. I just have it in my mind that when I'm on a cruise ship, I want the pool, I want the tropical atmosphere, and
I mean, you could still go in the pool. You just might be a little bit chilly there.
Yeah, a lot of people that I've talked to, my clients that have been on, I know, but even it's just it's not the same. When you're out on the deck, you usually have a sweater on, a little jacket, even in the summer, because I mean, it is colder. And I would love to see Alaska. I'm just not sure if I want to do it from a cruise ship,
maybe you're
but that's
thinking
just
about
me.
it the wrong way. Maybe you should think of it as my colada won't melt when I'm outside on the deck.
Well, that's a good point, Matt.
Exactly, right? That's the number one reason to
This
book
is
a
a
cruise to
family show.
Alaska.
Your parents would not be proud of you that all you're focusing on is alcohol. Okay.
It could be a virgin daiquiri. I didn't say it had alcohol in it, Shelly.
Your
Don't put
ice
words in
cream
my mouth
cone.
here.
Your ice cream cone won't
your
melt
iced
when you have your
tea,
ice cream. Your
you know, your little
milkshake.
slushies.
Okay. Good save there, Matt. So, moving on, the next class we have is the Conquest class. This was a big jump in size for Carnival. We went from the 80,000 gross tonnage up to over 100,000 gross tonnage. This is when the ship started getting really bigger in the Carnival classes. Liberty, my favorite ship, is in this class. I've sailed 4 out of 5 of these ships. They're not too big and they're not too small, but they are at that point the biggest ships that I had been on. These ships are 110,000 gross tonnage, and they hold approximately 2,980 guests. The Carnival Conquest. This was the first ship I sailed on after the year I started CCPPF. It wasn't a group cruise. It would just happen to be the cruise that I had booked the same year that I started the group. It was my biggest ship up to that point. I really enjoyed that sailing and the ship. I remember driving past her in the port of Galveston and was so excited because I had never been on a ship that big yet. So I was really excited. The next in this is the Carnival Glory, which I have not been on, but the next 3 I have. The Carnival Valor, which the Valor, great ship. Again, the perfect size in my opinion. We've had 2 Diva cruises on her, and our third Diva cruise. It's the 5th Diva cruise, but the 3rd on the Valor coming up in April with, of course, Frankie the Tank. He's been our cruise director now twice for a Diva cruise, and I'm hoping that the scheduling won't change and he'll be our cruise director again for the next one. He'll be the only cruise director that we've had more than once for a Diva cruise, and this would be the 3rd time. And he is an awesome cruise director. He's great, full of energy, super fun, super accommodating. The next is a Carnival Liberty. Out of my 15 I think it's 15. I have to go back now and update that because I think it's more than that now. I keep saying in my 15 cruises. I think it's more than 15 now. But the Carnival Liberty is my favorite ship out of all of them. The big ones, the small ones, the medium-sized ones, all the Carnival Liberty is my favorite.
Why is the Liberty your favorite compared to everyone else? I mean, I really enjoyed the Triumph. It was great. It had a lot of the small features and a lot of small details that I think a lot of the bigger ships kind of ignore because they have so many amenities and everything else on it. You don't really pay attention to the small details compared to the smaller ships where you're kind of looking at every little thing. So why do you like this one compared to other ones?
I can simply tell you that there is no better ship for the divas to go on. We had one diva cruise on the Liberty. We were hoping that then another diva cruise, but they switched the ships around in Galveston. We only had the Liberty for about a year. That ship to me is all about what a diva cruise is. It is colorful, it is sparkly, it is beautiful, it is gaudy. I mean, my favorite part of that ship is all over the ship are these beautiful wrought iron chandeliers with frosted globes on all of them. The atrium, it's this gigantic chandelier, and they change colors. They go from to blue to purple to red to orange. They're beautiful. The whole ship itself is just perfect for a diva cruise. All the sparkles that you could possibly want, and I just love the decor. She's the same class as the Valor and the Liberty, the Freedom. They're all the same class, they're all the same size. They hold the same amount of passengers, but the decor, that was the ship that I walked on, and I was like, oh my god, she's so pretty. Yes, they have an alchemy bar.
Okay,
I already know what you're going to say.
That's the important thing. So
yes,
where
they
does
do.
the Carnival Magic go? Because I don't think you've talked about that one yet, and that's the only other one I've been on.
I haven't because we haven't gotten there yet. Because the last one in the Conquest class is the Freedom. I've been on the Freedom once, that for John Heald's Bloggers Cruise, BC8. So far, that's been my least favorite. I mean, it was the same size and everything, but the decor, I was underwhelmed. It wasn't, I mean, it was a pretty ship. Don't get me wrong. I'm never complaining. I mean, I'm glad to be on a ship no matter what. But it wasn't the wow factor that some of the other ships have. But I have been on the Freedom. She's big. She's nice. She has all the upgrades, but it wasn't my favorite. So then you have the next class is the Splendor. There are two classes of ships on the Carnival cruise lines that only have one ship. I guess it was an architectural thing. I guess they just decided that this was the only ship they wanted to design this way and went on to something else. But the Carnival Splendor is the only ship in the Splendor class. Built in 2008, gross tonnage 113,300, and a guest capacity of 3,012. And then we move on to the Dream class, which moves on to your question about the Magic, correct? So the Dream class, other than the Vista class, is the biggest and the newest ships in the fleet. The only thing newer than the Dream class is the Vista class, which is our last one to talk about. These ships have the amazing thalassotherapy woo, that's a tongue twister. The thalassotherapy mineral pools and the heated thermal chairs in the updated Cloud9 spa, as well as several steam rooms, rainforest shower. These ships have everything pretty much. They have the Guys Burgers. They have the Red Frog Pub. They have the Punchliner Comedy Club.
Alchemy Bar.
They pretty much have, the Alchemy Bar. Thanks for reminding me of all the bars.
Don't worry, I got you.
They pretty much have all of the upgrades that you could want that Carnival's come up with. They pretty much have everything that you need. The three ships in the Dream class are the Carnival Dream, the Carnival Magic, and the Carnival Breeze. All three of these ships are 130,000 gross tons, with the Dream having a guest capacity of 3,646, the Magic of 3,690, and the Breeze of 3,690 as well. So I've been on all three of these ships. The Carnival Dream was the CCPPF second annual group cruise. And like the Magic, she's a big girl. Okay, she came right out before the Magic. She didn't have all of the same things that the Magic had. At the time, she came out the year before the Magic did, but she's still a great ship. The best way I can describe the decor on the Dream, and I guess that was what it was supposed to be like, was a dream, was like Alice in Wonderland. They had all of these strange paintings with, you know, unicorns and butterflies and weird little, you know, flying rabbits, and
Did you have
it
the
was
drink
just
card
weird.
on the ship before we go any further?
I did.
Okay,
And I made
so
sure that
maybe,
while I made sure a few times, I'm like, am I seeing that right? But when I was sober, I looked at it again. I'm like, that is a very weird painting. But I think that was their whole point, was it's the Dream. So it was
Exactly.
supposed to be different, unusual, odd, you know, the whole decor of the ship. The next one would be the Carnival Magic.
And if
She
you guys
came
want to
brand new
see
to,
any videos of the Carnival Magic, you can go back to CruiseWeek.tv from season 1 and check out
yes.
all the videos there. We have a bunch of GoPro footage of me stumbling around in the ship because it was, you know, rocking back and forth.
I love the Magic. She
It's
has a
great. I
special
loved
place
it
in my
too.
heart. She has a special place in my heart because the Magic was the inaugural CCPPF group cruise, 2 years in the making, 169 cabins, over 400 people went on that cruise. It was awesome. And the other thing about the Magic was normally Miami gets the brand new ship first, and then Galveston will get her later. Well, with the Breeze right on the tail of the Magic, instead of the Magic going to Miami first, Galveston got the Magic. So we got a brand new ship right off the assembly line, right here in Galveston. And that was the first time I had a Guy's Burger. It was the first time I went to the Red Frog Pub. My first spa cabin, where I got to go to the Thalasso Mineral Pool. You have to say that slowly. It was amazing. It's one of the best ships, I think, in their fleet, and it was one of the best cruises I went on. Of course, I was with 400 of my closest cruising friends, so maybe that had something to do with it. But I love the ship. I love the decor. We had a great time. And the last ship in the Dream class is the Carnival Breeze. We went on the Breeze for our 3rd annual CCP group cruise. Great ship. Everything the Magic had, plus everything else the Magic didn't have. I do like the big new ships in the Dream class, and the Breeze was one of the best. So, we do have 2 more. I'm sorry. The Sunshine class. Okay, this was a weird little something different that Carnival did. There's only 1 ship in the Sunshine class.
Okay.
The other one was a Splendor in the Splendor class.
Is the
This
only ship in the Sunshine class the Carnival Sunshine?
Yes,
Okay,
that's it.
good. That's good.
So, but what's
Nailed
weird
it.
about the Sunshine is the Sunshine was actually the Carnival Destiny. They gutted an existing ship, redid everything, added new cabins, put in all the upgrades, and renamed her the Sunshine. The original name of that ship was the Carnival Destiny. It's the only ship that so far that they've ever done that with. I'm not sure what the rhyme or reasoning was behind it, but there's 1 ship in the class, and that's the Sunshine. And it wasn't even originally the Sunshine. So
if you guys know what it is, put it in the comments below, and we'd love to read it later on.
Well, know what is?
Why they did it? Why they
did it? Yeah, I know. I'm curious about why.
Ron Hiller, I'm looking at
Instead
you.
of building a new ship, instead of building a new cruise ship, they gutted an old cruise ship and made it a new cruise ship. I don't know, but anyway, it was the Carnival Destiny. That ship. The Carnival Sunshine. That was refurbished and renamed in 2013. 102,815 gross tonnage and a guest capacity of 3,002 passengers. So our last class, of course, is the Vista class, and these are the newest ships that Carnival's coming up with. So, the 2 ships in this class are the Carnival Vista and the Carnival Horizon. These ships are a gross tonnage of 133,500 gross tonnage and a guest capacity of 3,934 guests. So CCPBF 4th Annual Group Cruise was on the Vista out of Miami. I gave my review on a previous show that we had together. Most of the ships up until the Vista class had very similar layouts, very similar floor plans. Even the older ships versus the newer ships, they kind of kept the same feel. I felt like every time I got on a ship that it was really easy for me to get acclimated to where it was and where to go, because I had been on so many different classes and so many different ships. It wasn't hard. The Carnival Vista, although a big, beautiful new ship, I don't care for the new layout. That's just my opinion. That I'm not to try to discourage anyone from going on the Vista class ships, because they're beautiful. I wasn't crazy about the new, I won't go into great detail because of course a whole nother show had my review of it, but my biggest disappointment was the atrium. One of the most amazing things when you walk on a ship for the first time or the 15th time is you walk into that on deck 3, you walk into the atrium and you look up, and the atrium just goes on forever, all the way to the sky,
The
and it's
glass
beautiful.
elevators, the candy
Yes,
shop, everything you can see.
beautiful. You can see all the decks, and you
People
can
throwing
stand up
ducks
there
down
and
at
look
you.
down. Yes, and the Vista class ships, they don't do that. The atrium went up from deck 3 to, I want to say, maybe 5, and there was a ceiling, and you couldn't see above that, and it just did not have that breathtaking,
That wow
take your,
factor.
like, oh wow, look how beautiful this is. So the one thing I will say about the Vista class, the Havana cabins, nice. If you have the extra money to get a Havana cabin, get one. You have a dedicated pool only for Havana cabin guests and a bar, and no one under the age of 12 can be booked in one of those cabins. So you don't have little kids, getting salt water out of the pool in your $9 cocktail because they're doing, cannonballs in the pool. So it's really the Havana cabins. I think that's a great thing. I love that. I will try the Horizon, when she comes out, just to say I've been on her. But the Vista class so far, I wasn't overly impressed. I mean, I love the Liberty still more than I love the Vista. I love the Magic and the Breeze more than I like the Vista. So anyway,
is the Vista class ship also going to continue with the Horizon as well? Because we got our group
Yes,
cruising
the
the Horizon. That's going to be amazing. A huge ship.
Right. The Horizon is in the Vista class. The Vista is the first one right now. And then the second one is the Horizon. If it's just like the Vista, I mean, it's not that I won't be excited and happy to go, but again, it just didn't have the same, that some of the other ships have had. So I hope this helped clear up any confusion of the difference of the Carnival fleet. Remember, bigger doesn't always mean better. Most ships, especially the older, smaller ships, have had many of the upgrades. And although they may be smaller, they still offer most of the fun ship amenities and all of the great things, the Guy's Burgers and the Alchemy Bar and everything that everybody loves.
So we actually have a couple questions as well coming in. And this one comes from Richard. He asks, how many more ships are coming to Carnival? I'm aware of the Carnival Horizon coming, but after that, I'm not too aware.
They don't really. They don't tell you too far in advance. The only one I know of that's coming up so far is the Horizon. I'm sure there's another ship on the drawing board. It just hasn't been announced yet. They usually don't. Maybe about a year or so before the ship is set to be set sail, they'll let us know. But right now, the Horizon's the only one I see in the immediate future. And actually, because the Horizon is coming to Miami in 2018, Galveston's going to get the Vista. And the Vista will be the CCPBF 5th Annual Group Cruise will be on the Vista again.
And we have one more question coming in from Melinda Moss, and then we're going to be jumping back to Justin. Melinda asks, will the Legend ever leave Alaska?
I don't know. Probably not. Those, like I said earlier, Alaska, Hawaii, Sydney, they don't have as big of a volume as cruisers going on those. Not that Alaska is not a popular cruise, but not everybody wants to go on an Alaskan cruise. So they're always going to keep a smaller ship there because they're not going to be able to fill the Vista out of Alaska. There wouldn't be enough people to book it to justify bringing a ship that size there. So they're always, they may rotate some of the smaller ships, but it's probably going to remain a smaller ship of that
Exactly.
class, you know, because I mean, not everybody's going to go to Hawaii. Not everybody can afford to go to Sydney. Not everybody can wants to do Alaska. So they're going to have, they want a ship there that they can fill. So there's no way the Horizon's going to go out of Alaska. I mean, it just would never happen. So, the last thing was I was going to add to all of these ports like where the ships are at this time. However, in 2018, they call it the dancing of the ships. A bunch of ships are going to change ports. They're going to move to different places. Galveston's getting the Dream for some of our 4-day cruises. But if you want to see what the current departure ports are, go to carnival.com to get current, because I don't want to say right now what they are and then a month later people are watching the video and they've misinformation. It isn't the same because they are fixing to change. So I just want to make sure we're up to date and current. But carnival.com, all you got to do is go put in where you want to cruise from, and they'll tell you all the ships that'll be available for you in 2018.
So we got Justin back, so we're going to jump back to his feed over here. So Justin had some slight connectivity issues before, but we got him back for now. Justin, are you still there with us? Good. I got a nod. That means you're still here. We got some audio and we got some video. So let's jump back into some questions that some people were asking. This one comes from Cassandra Artella. She asks, what is the average price for a beach tour that you offer? So I think we're still having some slight audio issues on his end, and we are going to try to work some of those out. Right now, let's jump to the science segment and see if we can buff out some of those audios in a little bit. So I asked at the beginning, why is Bahamas water so clear versus some of the water that comes out of, the not so clear compared to some of the water that comes out of your tap? Well, if someone were to ask you, what is the color of the ocean? Chances are that you would normally answer it was blue. For most of the world's oceans, your answer would be correct. Pure water is perfectly clear, of course, but if there is a lot of water and the water is very deep so that there are no reflections off the seafloor, the water appears as a very dark navy blue. The reason is the ocean is a blue due to the absorption of the scattering of light. The blue wavelengths of the light are scattered similar to the scattering of blue light in the sky, but absorption is a much larger factor than scattering for the clear ocean water. In water absorption, it is strong in the red and weak in the blue. Thus, red light is absorbed quickly in ocean, leaving the blue. Almost all sunlight that enters the ocean is absorbed, except very close to the coast. The red, yellow, and green wavelength of sunlight are absorbed by the water molecules in the ocean. When the sunlight hits the ocean, some of the light is reflected back directly, but most of it penetrates the ocean surface and interacts with the water molecules that it encounters. The red, orange, and yellow and green wavelengths of light are absorbed so that the remaining light we see are composed of the shorter wavelengths, blues and violets. If there are any particles suspended in the water, they will increase the scattering of light. In coastal areas, runoff from rivers, resuspension of sand and silt from the bottom by tides and waves and storms, and a number of other substances can change the color of nearshore waters. Some types of particles, in particular the cells of phytoplankton, also referred to as algae, can also contain substances that afford certain wavelengths of light, which alters its characteristics. The most important light-absorbing substance in the ocean is chlorophyll, which phytoplankton use to produce carbon by photosynthesis. Due to its green pigment, chlorophyll phytoplankton preferentially absorb the red and blue portions of the light spectrum for most photosynthesis and reflect green light. So the ocean over region with high concentrations of phytoplankton will appear as certain shades from blue-green to green depending upon the type of density of phytoplankton population there. The basic principle behind the remote sensing of the ocean color from space is this. The more phytoplankton in the water, the greener it is. The less phytoplankton, the bluer it is. there are substances that may be found dissolved in the water that can also absorb light. Since these substances are usually composed of organic carbon, researchers generally refer to these substances as colored dissolved organic matter, or CDOM for short. The study of ocean color helps scientists gain a better understanding of phytoplankton and their impact on the Earth's system. These small organisms can affect the system on very large scales, such as climate change. Phytoplankton can use carbon dioxide for photosynthesis and provide almost half of the oxygen that we breathe. The larger of the world's phytoplankton population, the more carbon dioxide gets pulled from the atmosphere, hence the lower average temperature due to the lower volumes of the greenhouse gas. Scientists have found that a given population of phytoplankton can double its numbers about once per day. In other words, phytoplankton can respond very rapidly to changes in their environment. Large populations of these organisms sustained over long periods of time can significantly lower atmospheric carbon dioxide levels and in turn lower average temperatures or global warming. Carbon can be stored in oceanic sediments. When organic matter sinks, it's buried into the ocean floor. Understanding and monitoring phytoplankton can help scientists study and predict environmental change. Since phytoplankton depend upon sunlight, water, and nutrients to survive, physical or chemical variance in any of these ingredients over time for a given region will affect the phytoplankton concentrations. Phytoplankton populations grow rapidly or diminish rapidly in response to changes in the environment. Changes in the trend for a given phytoplankton population, such as its density, distribution, and rate of population growth or diminishment, will alert Earth scientists that the environmental conditions are changing there. Then, by comparing these phytoplankton trends to other measurements such as temperature, scientists can learn more about how phytoplankton may be contributing to and affected by climate or environmental change. And that brings another show to a close, and we apologize for Justin's Wi-Fi issues, but sometimes during island life, it's hard to get a stable connectivity, and if you go back to season 1, you can actually see Bird struggling and a little bit frustrated by some of the issues that the island provides with Wi-Fi. So we apologize for that, and we'll be reaching and be in contact with Justin in the future to try to get some video upload later on to the show. So again, we apologize for that, but stuff like this kind of happens, especially on islands. Anyway, if you know someone who will enjoy watching the show as much as you, be nice and share the link to their Facebook wall so they can enjoy it as well. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and Facebook pages. Just doing that alone really helps our show and shows our sponsors that the support that we get just kind of keeps our show alive each and every week. Plus, you guys can be entered to win some great cruise swag drawings, which usually happens every couple of months, so stay tuned for that. Thanks from our support from the RC's Paris groupers Kathy and Ken Jarvis. Joe is here next week, and we will be talking about Aruba with our guests. So if you want to get to know a little bit more about Aruba, be sure to check in with us and ask your questions live. I'll be back the week after with my co-host and the lovely and slightly inebriated Shally. But till then, we will see you guys on the ships.